Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We have reached chapter 36 in Call to Community, and this chapter focuses on children. Rich, I thought it was a very interesting chapter. The author, Charles Moore, actually put down his thoughts and also his experiences as it pertains to children in community, which was fascinating because he kind of had two experiences. The first was founding a community with younger members who were beginning their families, and how the communities kind of dissipated over the issue of family, because naturally the parents that were then having children at the time couldn't source adequate childcare or didn't quite find that within the community life balance, and therefore had to move to gain more familial support, and the community kind of crumbled. Then his second experience, he talked with the Bruderhof, actually. He was talking about how it was completely different. He was living up in Albany, and while it was chaotic and so many people were doing so many different things, children were, and his own child at the time, they were the focus of the community, and what was good for them was good for everyone else. So that childlike spirit, the spirit of Matthew 18 and 19, where talks about that all the children come unto me and do not hinder them. He talks a lot about the childlike spirit in this chapter and how a Christ-centered community depends on a childlike spirit. So just wondering what your thoughts are as a parent and
yeah. Well, I thought it was a really good comparison. These two communal experiences that Charles had and writes about, and I think many people who are drawn to life together in community maybe come at it with some very high-minded ideas about. So the first experience Charles had was in the inner city, where they wanted to really live out the kingdom of God among the homeless, among the poor. Very admirable aspirations. But family life really gets in the way of high-minded ideals and aspirations a lot of the time, because it's raising children is challenging. It demands a huge amount of your time and resources. And so I think where this community and or maybe other communities do not foster family life, it's because they're not able to center children. They're not able to see that actually a primary part of our Christian mission, or is the formation of our own children, is the care of our own children. And we can have wonderful ideas about going into all the world and reaching out to the poor and this and that. But if it's at the expense of our own families, one has to wonder if that's really what the most responsible thing is. But it's also interesting to me that we live in a time where it's very difficult for people to contemplate having children outside of a supportive environment, which most people live in. And we're seeing demographic trends that indicate that people are not having the number of children they would like to have for a huge number of reasons. Insecurity, financial insecurity, worries about the climate, so on and so forth. And it's really in community, in a supportive environment, where a lot of those concerns are overcome, because you're in a supportive environment. And that's what we hear on the Bruderhof experience is, since the beginning, our community has been an educational community, has been a community that seeks to prioritize raising children, family life, education. And I cannot imagine, I have 5 kids. I cannot imagine having 5 kids outside of this context. It would be, it's just not only financially, but also just in terms of the what children require to be raised. So
Yeah, and I think also an important aspect to this is looking at living in community, not in the world's context, where we've discussed many of these things, like how the world is driven by ambition and money and all these things, and then living out community in the Christian context, it turns it on its head, and it's about living for how God's kingdom will reign on earth. So Charles points that out here, where the least are the greatest, and how the vulnerable children, if you prioritize those people and make them your focus, and also just center the community around what's good for them, everything else kind of naturally falls into place with life and work and worship. So I thought that was a really important part of the chapter that Charles points towards.
now there is this very interesting tension, right, in community, where yes, children are prioritized, need to be prioritized, and that is really what keeps the community on track. But it can't be a family first. Every
Right.
family for themselves, and I'm going to do what's best for my family. You do what's best for your family. That's not cooperative, and things will not function. So really, what needs to happen is for kids to be raised with a consciousness of being part of something greater, something bigger than just their family. Of course, the family is the main building block. That's really important, that families are supported and protected, and family time is important. Times with parents and children, absolutely vital for healthy upbringing. But then also to realize, like, we're part of this bigger social milieu, and we have a responsibility to it, and we are going to show up for those events that make up community. We are going to do the work of community, whether it means keeping a certain area of the community mowed, or the grounds taken care of, whether it means taking in an older person who needs support into our family, even if it's maybe not the most convenient thing. Many other examples of ways that kids
Right.
can be taught from a young age that we have a responsibility as a family to this bigger picture.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I think, it's important, it's absolutely vital, or it's unacceptable for people to take advantage of this model of community. And that's not at all what we're saying. It starts with the parents' convictions first and foremost, and then how that translates to the children. So that's a very important point.
Well, this is a rich topic and a really important one for us to think about, and always interested to hear your reflections, your thoughts. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.